Hey there everybody, I'm going to give you 3 reasons why a diesel heater is better than a propane-based heater, for example, like a Mr. Buddy. What's great about a diesel heater is that the type of hot air that it blows out is dry, it's warm, and it's vented out as well. I think at some point everybody started off with a Mr. Buddy heater to sort of warm up their van, and that's great if you're just starting out. After a while, after using it as well, as you probably notice that there's a lot of condensation that happens, and that's because it operates from propane. And propane is known to cause a lot of condensation, unlike a diesel heater. You know, while both a diesel heater and a Mr. Buddy or a propane-based heater both provide heat, the type of heat that a diesel heater provides, it's dry and it's warm. And what does that mean? Well, it basically means it's not going to condensate. It's actually perfect for van life because we all know that when it gets too wet or condensate in a van, it starts getting moldy, and that's a problem. Another advantage with a diesel heater is that it can operate at extreme temperatures. I know for myself, when I had a Mr. Buddy propane heater, I tried to operate it in like minus 32 or minus 30 degrees Celsius weather, and it just wouldn't start. Whereas with my diesel heater, I just turned it on, I pressed the button, and bam, it started up. And finally, the other reason for me is when it comes to a diesel heater, the great part is that all the exhaust is vented out. Now, it does require some insulation, but it's definitely worth it. Whereas when you have a Mr. Buddy, you have to make sure you have some really good airflow. You have to keep a window open. That way it doesn't condensate so much and air is actually flowing through your van, thereby making it safer. Like with anything, anytime you have a combustible, make sure you have a carbon monoxide detector, you have a fire extinguisher, and anything, like for example, a fire detector, things like that, whenever you have anything like that. So let's talk about costs in terms of the diesel heater versus a propane-based heater. So for example, a Mr. Buddy will set you back about $75 to $100. A diesel heater is about $150 to about $200. So the difference is about $100, but the results and also the type of heat that you get is well worth the effort. And also the other thing too is a diesel heater does require some insulation, but it's definitely worth it in terms of the condensation, in terms of the convenience of just turning it on, letting it go. And finally, one other part that I almost forgot to mention is with a propane-based heater like a Mr. Buddy, you are always on the hunt for those little propane, those butane, the 1 pound butane containers. I forgot they're called. Whereas with a diesel heater, there's a bazillion places where you can get diesel. Almost every gas station I pass by has diesel. So in terms of availability, it's there. Now, the other thing at some point I'll talk about are wood stoves. Those things are really cool. And yes, they do provide warm, dry, hot heat. I'm going to tell the advantages of them. Granted, for me, I've never had one, but I've read so much about them, and I want to talk to you about it next. And if you're interested in finding out more about van life, and the things that I do here, please visit my YouTube channel at Silver Cabin.